So in this project I will explore the question, why is carp fishing more popular than fly fishing in the UK? I will do this by splitting it up into 3 different sections and doing interviews and doing pieces to camera about that section. Enjoy. So, to contextualise my project, I'd like to start with some stats and facts. So, it has been estimated by the NRA that there are 2.2 million coarse anglers, most of which are presumed to be carp fishermen. Then, there are a further 843,000 game anglers, or fly fishermen. So, this shows there are many more carp anglers than fly anglers. Also, 20,000 people attended the Big One show in 2018, whereas only 1,000 to 2,000 people attended the London Fly Fishing Fair in 2019. Here at the Big One today, we're talking about the first type of fishing. So, why do you think carp fishing is so widespread and so popular?
In the UK, I think it's become increasingly popular, because there's a lot more fish available to fish for now. There's a lot more commercial carp fisheries in the UK now, which is brilliant, because it means people all up and down the country can have the opportunity to fish for carp. And I also think it's because of companies like ourselves and all the other big companies who's really good with the marketing now. There's lots of videos online, there's lots of events like this happening, which makes it a lot more accessible to more people.
Yeah, seeing all those things on social media.
Yeah. They can learn something. You can go and type how to tie a herring or multi-rig now or whatever, and no doubt there's a video about it on YouTube. You can learn a lot.
Yeah, and also it's very easy, very accessible.
Very accessible.
You can take anyone along.
You can indeed. The range of stuff you sell now, it's quite easy to, for a good price as well, depending on what you want to spend. You can get a nice setup for an affordable price.
Yeah.
You can get out there.
Yeah, it's a big range of products you can get.
Oh, it's so many, products, of course.
We
like to think we cater for all needs, so there's the top end price, you pay the top end money. There's also some budget sort of range, so the cheaper price points if you're just getting into it, or juniors like yourself. Something. So what I think this interview does is it shows that the carp fishing community is this sort of bubbling over with excitement, sort of crazy community, always eager to go out fishing, whereas fly fishing is quite the opposite. It's quite laid back, you've got all the time in the world, there's no rush to get down to the lake or to get these new trends, so that's the end of the first section. So we're here with Mario of Fishery Stefan. So why do you think carp fishing is so widespread and so popular, especially in the UK?
That's a good question. I think especially the whole tackle you get now, from the tent, the bed chair, the chairs, the luxury things for the fishing will be, I think, an important point for the carp anglers to spend days and weeks on the water, because they have all wisdom,
It creates a market, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's loads of stuff to buy.
That's true.
And then because also the social media, the videos, everything spreads really quickly. And then one wonder rig will pop up and people start using it, and then it'll quieten down. Then something else will pop up, and there's sort of this crowd mentality almost.
Yeah, definitely.
When it comes to carp fishing.
But also the point that you can get the fish a second or a third or a fourth time.
Yeah.
You know that the releasing of the fish, that's very important.
Yeah, because I think nowadays people are a lot more conscious of sort of animal welfare. They don't want to kill fish anymore, and that's sort of what carp fishing brings. It's sort of a lot of, like, say, fly fishing, a lot of the places you have to kill fish, or it's very customary to kill fish, but in carp fishing you always release your fish.
That's true.
And I think people are sort of geared towards, animal welfare, and that comes in with carp fishing. Sort of, with these like safe rigs, nets, slings, sacks, and all this sort of fish safe thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also, why do you think fly fishing is sort of quite a sort of niche thing, especially in the UK?
In the UK, I think it depends on the waters.
Yeah.
When you do a look to Europe, or especially to Austria, Germany, Switzerland, where we have many rivers and beautiful small lakes, where a good stock of salmon and trouts are in, there are much more fly fishermen than in your part, maybe because the rivers are not so widespread than here.
Yeah, because there's carp waters in the UK everywhere.
Yeah.
There's always one, 5 minutes away that you can go to. They usually have quite high stocks now. Low stock lakes are sort of dying out, and I think, a lot of people say, well, my local lake's 5 minutes away, I'll go down there instead of driving a couple hours up north to go to these big rivers for salmon.
Okay.
And I think, and also it's to do with prices, because carp fishing is quite affordable. There's lower end stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And
definitely.
with fly fishing, it's all quite expensive. It's quite a gentleman sport. It's
More.
Yeah.
more than carp angling.
Yeah, you see a lot of people who fly fish are quite well off. Who quite sort of they're quite well off. Whereas you see a lot of people who carp fish are sort of a bit more oiky. Yeah. Also, why do you think sort of fly fishermen are sort of a bit, I don't know, why do you think upper class people don't tend to go for carp fishing? They tend to go for fly fishing. They sort of gear towards trout and salmon and these sort of that family.
I think the carp anglers are a totally different group.
Yeah.
They love to spend the weekend or some days or weeks out in the nature.
Yeah.
And the fly fishermen are more, they are going for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours to enjoy the nature.
Yeah.
And also an important part from the fly fishermen are to hunt them.
Yeah, it's
when they are 3 hours out on the river, they maybe sometimes fish for only 10 minutes, and the other time they are only watching and searching the fish. And that's, I think, a totally different group than the carp anglers.
Yeah, and you see fly fishermen, they'll just walk up and they'll look over the water, whereas carp fishermen, you see all the gear out, rods out quickly, finding the spots, getting your marker float, crushing here, there and everywhere. And it's quite sort of
I don't know the name in English, but the carp anglers are in German Fallensteller.
No, I'm not sure.
The fly fishermen are the hunters.
Yeah.
They're searching the fish, and the stalkers, like the stalking with carp angling, but maybe 1% of the carp anglers they like to go stalking to hold it active,
Yeah.
And the most of them they
just like put the rods
they
out,
want to
sit back.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, sort of like you'll see a lot of people, they'll just set up in one swim and stay there for a week.
Yeah.
They won't do anything. They won't even. A lot of people just. So the big thing in the UK is sort of finish work on a Friday night, head to the lake there on the Friday night, rods out, and then spend the weekend there. Get home on the Sunday.
That's here the same, yeah. True.
Yeah, sort of. It's not. People don't usually tend to, in little breaks they go out and fish. They always select the biggest time possible. And I think people don't usually go for short sessions. That's sort of a thing of the past now in the UK. People think a week session, it's not that much.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But you don't need many things.
Exactly.
You only need one rod,
Yeah.
maybe a small bag, and a net,
Yeah.
and you can go after the work or after school for 1
exactly.
hour. And in this time you can catch, when you are good, 2, 3 carps.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I know Alex. He used to work at my local fishery, just doing like work painting, and he would always in his lunch break take a little sawn off and a waste pouch full of bread
Perfect.
and go around catching little carp. And I think it's because people I think fly fishermen are more sort of they use their time, but also they do like to sit back and like observe the nature. Whereas the carp fishermen, rods out, just staring at the rods, waiting for it to go.
Yeah.
You know. Yes.
But
So
I think the things will change definitely in the next years.
yeah.
It depends on the numbers of anglers on the waters, and also on the time of the anglers.
Yeah.
And I think many guys will recognize how effective the active fishing, the stalking could be, and so
Yeah, because also I think the shows help with sort of
definitely.
These big carp fishing shows. Like Brentwood, the Northern Angling Show, the big one, like this. It sort of really markets carp fishing. A lot of people, say match anglers, will go along, think, I'll give this a try, and then it's sort of snowballs from there. Whereas with fly fishing, there's only like one show a year. There's like the London Fly Fishing Show, and that's it. And I think I think fly fishing in the UK is limited to sort of people sort of up north, sort of Newcastle, Scotland, where all the rivers are. Whereas down south, there's not too many rivers and there's a lot of lakes. So I think people often, it's about availability. I think people just go to them. I just crashed out. Far bank.
No,
There's
second one.
Small one. Yeah, I think people are just all about accessibility and availability. I think people don't want to go to huge lengths to go to these certain places. Like a lot of English people don't come out to places in Austria like this. So here we are at Farlow's Lake 1. I thought I'd walk you through some of the gear that comes along with carp fishing. So first we have the bed chairs, which is basically a comfortable, easy solution that for a bed that packs up quite small. And I think it's a lot more luxury compared to, say, a roll mat or something like that. But yeah, also it comes along with a 5-season sleeping bag. Now these sleeping bags are a lot higher quality and a lot thicker and than the average sort of sleeping bag you get for camping. Then there's the bivvy. Now this is also quite high grade compared to, say, a camping tent. You can probably go out all year with this sort of setup and be okay. Because also there's the pram hood design, which allows for easy runoff, which you don't get in conventional tents. Then we have the rod pod and bite alarm. So the rod pod is quite useful because you can't get a conventional bank sticking to the stones here. So this just rests on top of it, and this can go anywhere. You can put a rod pod on any surface. And then we have the bite alarm. So the line of our rod and the rod goes over a little roller just here, and as the fish picks up the line, it sets it off. Then this here shows first which direction the fish is moving. If it pulls up, it will be moving forwards. If it goes down, which we call a drop back bite, it will be moving towards me. So I think this section has shown that carp fishermen and fly fishermen are very different people. The carp fishermen like to stay on the bank for days on end with all their little gadgets, whereas fly fishermen like to be active and on their feet. And also fly fishing and carp fishing waters are very different as well. Fly fishing waters are very secluded, whereas carp fishing waters are abundant with anglers. And then finally, the gear is very different. Carp fishing gears, there's quite a lot of it. As I said before, loads of little gadgets. Whereas with fly fishing, it's just a rod, net, maybe a backpack full of little supplies, but that's it. So here at August in London, what do you think the main differences are between carp fishing and fly fishing?
Okay, the carp fishermen use what we call a pole, and it's an extendable pole, and they're basically sitting with this pole extended, and they've got all these little things like a clock, bait that sits in a pouch. So all these things are static in the water, where with fly fishing, you're totally proactive. You're moving all the time, you're looking, you're sight fishing, which they do in carp as well.
Yeah.
But the normal sort of, the way people perceive carp fishing is sitting there with a six-pack, with your tent behind you, your bed, and everything, you know, your alarm clock and 3 poles sticking out. Where fly fishing is completely different. You're actually sight fishing, you're using stealth. You're first of all using whatever skills you have to find out what the trout are eating, what you think they're going to be eating, and of course tying your own flies is a part of it. But the main thing is that you're proactive. You're moving all the time. You're not sitting static at all. There are situations if you come to a pool that looks very, what can I say, very productive. Then you will spend a few hours there, you know, walking around, having a look, seeing if there's rising fish. But it's a big difference.
Yeah, especially with also with the new generation of carp fishermen. I think the younger people don't like sitting behind static rods. I think it's more moving towards sort of stalking and spotting fish in the edge and just.
We do target carp with fly rods.
Yeah.
We tie bread patterns. What we call dog biscuit. So these flies work as well. One of our directors is fully into it. Richard Bambury, he does carp on the fly, and he picks some deep fish, big fish on the fly.
That's great.
Using heavier rods, 9 weights and 10 weights, which you would use for pike and saltwater fishing. But on the whole, your normal fly rod, 9 foot 5 weight, 6 weight does it.
Yeah, I think it sort of attracts a different style of people. I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think fly fishing, these sort of people who want to go out and they don't want to, you know, be bored by it. They don't want to sit behind a static rod.
They want to be able to move and to do things, you know, and besides taking in the scenery. You know, I mean, when you're walking through rivers and things like that for carp or whatever, you're taking in the scenery without even looking. You know, and that's the whole experience of fly fishing.
Right, thank you.
To add on to that point there are many different types of carp fishing. There's floater fishing, where you can catch them off the surface of the water with little floating baits. There's method feeder fishing, a little ball of bait around a little lead, which you can cast out and it will dissolve. There's stalking, where you can spot a carp in the margins and flick a bait to it and watch it snaffle it. And then you can fly fish, as the guy said. And then I think that's one of the reasons why so many people like carp fishing, is because there are so many different ways to do it. So that's that. So to round off, these are the main reasons why I think carp fishing is more popular than fly fishing. So first, carp brands are advertised more compared to fly fishing brands. Secondly, I think carp fishing offers more attractions to people, because you can sit behind your rods, or you can run around and cast it showing fish. Whereas with fly fishing you can sit back, however, to get your rod in the water you have to move around. And then lastly, leading on from that, there are more methods available with carp fishing. You can floater fish, method feeder fish, bottom bait fish, as I mentioned earlier, but with fly fishing you're just limited to dry fly fishing and nymph fishing. Thank you for watching.